Hey, it's MykonosFan. First off, sorry about the audio quality. I am actually driving, and I'm using those earpod microphone, that thing in those cords. You know what I'm talking about, yeah, to record this. Uh, I'm driving, and I thought, fuck it. Like, I drive so much. Let's just fucking, record a podcasty type thing and see how it goes, right? So, I'm currently on my way to Pittsburgh, and I've got like an hour and a half left until I get where I'm heading there, and hours after that until who I'm coming to see actually gets back from her final. So I just figured, I don't really have like a good time to sit down and do like a predictions video for Sony's E3, and I drive a lot, so I just figured this would be efficient. So I'm on a scenic route. It's pretty nice, but just as a heads up, one, audio quality, obviously not going to be that great, so if it's already bothering you, it's not going to improve that much, I bet. And secondly, this is going to be incredibly rambly. I know I already struggle with that when I'm not on script, but factor in driving, and expect me to deviate a lot, probably complain about people who are driving, and just general wild and loose. Yeah. Just let's go ahead and immediately veer off already. I'm just thinking about how bad the people here driving are, and then I think like everyone likes to blame, and at least in America, I don't know about like other countries and stuff, but I've noticed like everyone you talk to, they'll like point at a neighboring state and be like, yeah, I mean those guys, they can't fucking drive at all, but here it's not that bad. It's that bad everywhere. People like latch on to where they live and go like, it's not that bad here, because like in their immediate vicinity they maybe drive like 20 miles maybe, but the more you drive around your state, the more you'll realize, oh yeah, everyone's bad at this. Oh, I don't get it. Like in West Virginia where I live a few miles from Ohio, right? And the thing here is always like, yeah, those fucking Ohio drivers, they can't do shit. No, I've had worse experience in West Virginia, honestly. Every time people say that, it's always like people who don't leave the small town I live near much, like, not to put myself on a pedestal, but like, I travel around a fair amount to places, and, it's, honestly, it's better kind of where the state I live in. But anyway, so Sony's E3, I feel like it's weird this year because it seems like we had a few years where, like the year of dreams kind of became a term among people who look forward to E3 with Sony, because it's like, oh, they'll just fucking pull whatever you want out and announce it on stage, and ta-da, it's real. Like, they make the dreams happen. There's Shenmue 3, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, The Last Guardian came back, and it seemed like E3 was a show where, like, anything could happen again thanks to Sony, But you can only do that for so long, I think, and I just don't know. I think Sony's E3 this year, they have so many unannounced games that are, like, nebulous in terms of when they're actually going to be released, that this year just seems kind of like the... what's the way to put this? The debrief, maybe, of like everything they've been like kind of building up for a few years. Like, I mean, Shenmue just got delayed and it's not going to be at the show. And that's not even really a Sony game, but they have some weird partnership with that no one's ever really clear about. Last Guardian actually hit. Who the fuck knows was Final Fantasy 7 Remake? I do not see... Okay, I can't say that. I didn't see them showing gameplay at that PSX that they did, and they did. And that looked super rough. So, fuck, maybe, maybe they show it off. Kingdom Hearts... Yeah, okay, I went ahead and said it because Square's on my mind. Again, no focus to this. I'm just going wherever. Kingdom Hearts 3, I think, actually... I kind of wonder if maybe that's, like, one of their big surprise things, Because that... I don't know. I played the first Kingdom Hearts through. I don't really follow it. But as someone who really likes Half-Life, I check in on at least like how Kingdom Hearts 3 is doing, because it's funny to me that it's another 3 that everyone's super wanting, and Square Enix is way worse about drawing that shit out than Valve. Because at least with Valve, you'll get like a tease during one of their ARGs, and it's like, oh, the number 3's here. With Square Enix, it's like, yo, we just fucking re-released all these games again, yo. 3? Don't ask. And I think there were some things saying, like, maybe in the next 3 years or beyond, Kingdom Hearts 3. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get, like, you know, another trailer just to show that, like, hey, this still exists, and we're marketing it in such a way to make you want a PS4, because that's where the Japanese games are. Please buy our system, even though this game may not even come out for a PS4. But I think that'll be one of their big things. I think, I mean, again, that was announced 4 years ago. We haven't really seen much of it since, like, 2015, right? I think there was maybe a little bit last year. That seems like one of their crowd pleasers. There's supposed to be a lot of Japanese games at the show. I wouldn't be surprised if they just prepared a little more and then end it with some vague year that they're not going to meet, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if you see, like, maybe not Holiday 2018 explicitly stated, but, you know, 2018 at the end of it, like some Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, and then 2018 comes, and Nomura's like, yeah, no, we'll give you a release date later, and then they just fucking ride off into the sunset, and you don't see him for a few more years, because fucking Square Enix on the Japanese division, right? To get back to, like, Sony's actual properties, though, there's so much left in the air. I mean, again, I've been driving pretty much since I woke up, got ready, didn't really check the internet much. When I did glance at Twitter, I saw some huge God of War banner on a building, and it's like him and the kid on some boat. It looks like potential, like, maybe box art-ish kind of setup. And I think at the bottom it said, like, November, like, 20-something, 2017, and that, you know, for all I know, that's fake. Again, like, off the cuff here, so I'm not sure. I didn't get to fact check it. But I honestly saw that as, like, a Q1 2018 title, you know, kind of where Horizon Zero Dawn wound up. Because, I don't know, like, it just... Sony is just really weird about not having anything good, or, like... I don't want to say not anything good, but not having a whole lot to bring for the holiday season. You know, they usually wind up letting third parties take over there, and they'll drop a few things. But, you know, like last year it was Last Guardian and Gravity Rush 2, and I think there's maybe something in November that I'm forgetting. PSVR stuff, maybe? I don't know. It's like there wasn't... For people who like those games, that's awesome. For, like, a wider audience, that's, you know, that's not much, right? Let's be frank. But I think it'd be very good if they can get God of War out this year. I just feel like from the rumblings there have been about that game's development and stuff, I just was not expecting it this year at all. If I had to be truly honest, I was actually thinking next holiday. But if they can squeeze it out this year, that's awesome. But I would not be surprised even if they give a November release date at this press conference, I think Monday night. And then... you get to, like, September, and they're like, they haven't really been talking about this game much, and Sony's like, we're delaying God of War to March 2018, and then that's the way it goes. What else is there? Death Stranding, I think maybe I said it, confirmed not to be at E3. I don't know how anyone was surprised by that. Like, that game, you know, I'm sure they're making some progress on it by now, but that game's not in, like, a... I mean, they could show off what they have, but I feel like it's just way too early. And at this point, they really just risk, like, drawing it out even more than they've already set the trap for themselves by announcing it so early. You know, and get to a point where by the time that thing's finally ready to ship, everyone's just sick of hearing about it. So I think actually, you know, if that thing's ready to go next year, they show it next year. If not, I wouldn't even show anything about it next year. Just be like, no, development's going fine, but, you know, we're working on it. We want you to be wondering, and when the time's right, we'll give you some morsels that'll make you wonder. But for now, you know, it'll be done when it's done. You know, it'll be worth the wait, blah, blah, blah. Phantom Pain, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But that's not going to hit. Let's see. Sucker Punch is due to announce something. I'm hoping that hits E3. If it doesn't hit E3, I would almost, like, 100% bet it'll be at PSX this year. I don't see it being another Infamous. There's no way they go back to Sly, honestly. I'd like that, but there's no way I just don't see it. So it's got to be a new IP. I think the speculations maybe it's a bit more linear because so much of Sony, it may be like more distinct because so much of Sony's first party stuff, if you look at it, it's like either open world or like heavy narrative driven, post apocalyptic stuff going on right now. You had there's another Last of Us, there's Horizon Zero Dawn, there's Days Gone, which I'll get to because I just remember that existed. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of go for something a bit more vibrant, maybe a little more wacky. I haven't played too much Infamous, but I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of took that and cranked it a little more toward the Sunset Overdrive dial, if you know what I mean. Different developer, but I don't know. I feel like for as diverse as Sony's portfolio is right now, there's a lot of it is kind of teetering to be more serious stuff. And I'm just looking at everything they got going on. I'm thinking like, even with Japanese support, like they got a lot of cool stuff going on, but they're missing that like, I mean, maybe this is just because I like these vibrant, colorful games, but they're missing that kind of vibrant, poppy, like eye-grabbing game. Stuff like God of War, Horizon, and all those things. They look, great graphically, but there's not that thing that pops. And I'd love to see Sucker Punch do kind of evolve Infamous some, and again, like take it a bit more towards Sunset Overdrive, but put their own kind of, not go that far, but just kind of do something like that. But, who knows? Maybe that's like, maybe at Sucker Punch, they're like, we want to do even more serious, grounded, open world experience, and you kind of get something similar to what a lot of Sony's first parties are already doing. I mean, I don't know. As far as I can tell, they probably work pretty autonomously in coming up with the ideas and stuff like that, But I'm pretty sure a couple years ago, one of Sony's big guys said he'd played a vertical slice of what Sucker Punch was making, and that was coming along really well. And I'm thinking if there's a vertical slice 2 years ago, it's probably getting about to the point where they're going to show it off pretty soon. It just, unless there's development hell, it just doesn't make sense to me for it to not be shown sometime this year. I don't know. Obviously, the jury is still out on that one. Days Gone, I was kind of seeing that taking the November slot that God of War is apparently going to get. I don't think we've seen anything about that game since last year's E3. It seems like the kind of game where you just want to come out this E3, hit it off with like an awesome gameplay demo that like actually like really makes you want to play the game and shows off a lot of the deeper mechanics and stuff the game may have. Because, even as someone who was like really interested in seeing what that studio was doing before they announced that, because I was like, Uncharted Vita was 2012. Like, what have they been doing, Even as someone who was, like, really interested to see that, I saw it, and it's just like, well, okay, There's, like, a motorcycle, and he's running around, and there's a gun, and there's, like, a swarm of zombies. It just wasn't, like, it wasn't bad, but there's nothing about it that gripped me from, like, a gameplay standpoint. So I think this year is probably what they'll kind of show that off, go in depth with it on, I guess they're not having a lot of people talking on stage at E3, but something that like shows off the versatility of what that game can do, and probably hit you up with like a September or October release date, because that seems like a fall game to me. If it comes out this year, I don't know. I guess that could also hit Q1, but to me it just feels so fall. It feels like the Sony Bend was working on a project that I think got canned, and there's maybe another one, but for years now they've been cranking out on Days Gone, so I think that's probably closer than some people may be thinking. What else? This is the thing about Sony for me at the moment. Like, all their games feel so nebulous, I just don't even know what to think. Like, there's that new Uncharted, I don't really want to say a DLC, because it seems like it kind of broke free of that a bit. It's just kind of like a standalone, Uncharted game. Like, expansion pack? No, that's not right. But the one with Chloe and 18. Ooh, that was a bump. Live here. I'm sure they'll show that off a little bit. Probably, I think we've only seen like a night area, then a cutscene of them in like a boat. And I think you kind of give that a few minutes at E3 and just say, like, here's the release date again, pre-order and get, Jag 1 if you pre-order at GameStop or whatever. And I think that's really all you need to say about that, I don't think you need to labor that point too much more, honestly. I think you need to market that more outside of E3, maybe. But as for E3 itself, you don't need to spend too much time on that. It's more Uncharted. People there will get it, They'll understand. Let's see. What else does Sony have cooking? Probably stuff I'm forgetting. Oh, let's talk third party a little bit to help me get on track here. Activision, no doubt they're going to be there. They were teasing a Crash Bandicoot surprise to keep your eyes out on for E3. Sony and Activision, they're up each other's butts, we'll put it that way. I was going to say in each other's nests, but I'm like, that doesn't really make sense, so let's go with the more crude thing. I can only interpret that statement as, like, maybe they want to announce some things like, Vicarious Visions made some original level layouts with the assets we've made, so there'll be some new levels, or it's got to be something low-key like that. I just feel like from the way they're like talking about this, because I feel like if it's going to be something like, and we're doing a remaster of, like, Crash Team Racing, I feel like you don't really mention that in like a please keep an eye out kind of way. I feel like you just announce that and let that announcement pop and have people fucking freak out, So I don't know. That's really weird to me. It's like, what do you announce for, like, a game remaster that's coming out in a few weeks? That's just old games, Like, what do you really announce for that, right? And it feels a little weird to announce a new Crash game a couple weeks before this one comes out. Maybe that's possible. Someone in the FTCR Discord, Fork, suggested maybe they announce when it's coming to, like, Xbox One and Switch and other platforms, because no one involved seems to want to commit to saying it's PS4 exclusive and not a time exclusive. So I say that's probably a time exclusive. And I could maybe see that. That feels weird to me again with that thing hitting in a couple weeks. It seems like kind of a fuck you to Sony because they've been really buddy-buddy throughout the messaging of this. Again, a little awkwardly, right? But for the most part. So I don't know. That's interesting to me. Undoubtedly, there'll be some Call of Duty, what's this one? WW2, World War II. No way that's not getting shown at Sony's conference. Destiny 2, they'll probably go on about that a bit more at Sony's conference. Sony loves to talk about Call of Duty and Destiny on their stage because they're really good with Activision, so that'll be there. Wouldn't be surprised if you get a little more, a little Crash trailer there somewhere, just kind of for that pop in the audience, because those things are looking good, and just being like, here's the kind of the launch trailer for that, that'll get some applause. Probably, it wouldn't be exciting or new, but yeah, it's something, right? Apparently, Blue Point are working on a Ratchet and I kind of got a bit ahead of myself there. They're not working on a Ratchet and Clank thing, as far as we know. They're working on remastering a PlayStation Classic. And Blue Point, if you don't know, they're kind of like a genius port house. They did the PS4 versions of the Uncharted games. They brought Ico and Shadow of the Colossus to PS3. What else? There's one other, like, they did the Metal Gear Solid HD collection, and, like, aside from some certain cutscenes in MGS3, like, all those ports are fantastic. Like, they're kind of wizards, and I just feel like, they're not like a remake studio. They're kind of a remaster studio. So it only makes sense to me that they do something for PS2 and PS3. And my buddy, The Golden Bolt, check him out on YouTube.com, The Golden Bolt. He's had a theory for a while that, like, Sony are going to bring out the Ratchet and Clank future games on PS4 because it's the 15th anniversary. You want to capitalize on how well last year's reimagining did. And, it's like, obviously Insomniac haven't had the time to crank out another Ratchet and Clank and launch it this year. They're on Spider-Man. So, that makes sense to me. Like, get another studio to come in, get some more Ratchet and Clank on PS4, a sizable amount of games there to kind of help keep people tided over until Insomniac can launch another Ratchet and Clank. You know, it's a crowd pleaser. People love the future games, you know, and getting more Ratchet and Clank on PS4, people will be happy with that. And honestly, I don't know, that just makes the most sense to me. That's like an easy announcement to make to get people going, like, yeah, you know, first party Sony, you know, and something for the kids, you know. I mean, I'd be excited by it, you know. They do good work getting all those running at 60, especially into the Nexus. That'd be awesome. You know, I'd be there day one for that pretty much, so that makes the most sense to me. But either way, whatever Blue Point's doing, it's got to be something PS2 or PS3. And I don't know. To me, that just makes the most sense. But I am also prepared for a curveball. I could see them doing something completely unexpected. And I don't know. It can't be Jak and Daxter because those are coming to PS2 backwards compatibility sometime in the fall. You know, maybe they'll announce a release date for that real quick during the show. Spider-Man's going to get shown. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I think that's kind of at the point where that's going to get a name. Depending on how much they show, maybe a release date. Ideally, Disney would probably love to get that game out this year, as close as possible to the movie release date to tie in with that. But at this point, I don't see that happening, and honestly, I would not be surprised if Spider-Man slips to 2018. You know, maybe somewhere next year or something like that. Really curious to see some actual gameplay, like the minute-to-minute of that, because just based on it being a Insomniac alone, I'm pretty excited, but I really want to know like what that game actually is before I get too like crazy over it, you know? But it seems like a good fit. Sunset Overdrive seemed like kind of a blueprint for like, oh yeah, now we can make like a really over-the-top, you know, like fun, completely mobile superhero game. So, you know, I have full faith in them. I just really want to know what that game's focus is. Gosh, I'm probably forgetting some like really obvious stuff here. Oh, you know, let's make an easy one here. The name Vita will not be said at all again, like last year. PSVR, they've been very quiet about that, honestly. I just do not see them making too big a fuss out of it, you know? I think things have kind of gotten lukewarm with VR in general, let alone the PlayStation VR. I think they just launched Farpoint, which is a first-party Sony PSVR title. I did not see anyone talking about it. I saw the Giant Bomb quick look, and that is it. I follow some PlayStation-centric people. No one mentioned it. No one even was like, oh yeah, that's out today. Nothing, you know. So, that... I'm just wondering where Sony's at, you know, because they're probably not going to use any of their big studios up to work on something for this headset. The smaller studios they could put to that, you know. Can you really mention that at E3 and get excited? It's like, we're making Rigs 2, even though we closed the studio down at the beginning of the year. Please be excited for Rigs 2. And it's like, no. So I don't know. I want to see them take that thing seriously and actually try and get some hardware moving, but it feels like they're just kind of going to let that one go a little bit. You know, PlayStation move it. I'd love to see them come out with like a 2.0 and actually take it seriously, but I just... Until like they can make that thing cheap and get people actually to buy it, it's just not going to go anywhere. Maybe they can keep pumping out some quiet things to people who bought it, but I think that's pretty much going to be a Vita, where it's like if you have one, there are going to be like indies and stuff to support it. Maybe once in a while, Sony first party will throw you a bone, but I think we've kind of seen VR get its peak with first party software. Like you're not going to see a Naughty Dog like crank out a PSVR game. You're not going to see Sucker Punch do it. You know, unless Sony like drastically comes out of nowhere and like does a heel turn on what they're doing and actually takes it seriously, that thing's just, I don't see them doing anything with it, you know? It's just, unless they've been quiet just to build it up and like do a blowout and be like, hey, yeah, no, we're committed. Yeah, it's going to be like the Vita. That's my prediction. Like, I just don't see that going any other way. If that thing had caught on more, you can absolutely guarantee they'd be behind that thing more. But they launched it, people went, eh, That's where it's going to stay. I honestly think that. So I'm here at Moundsville, West Virginia, for everyone stalking past me through Google Maps. um, I was thinking about a couple other games I forgot about, actually. Detroit Become Human from Quantic Dream? Yeah, I always forget the studio name. I just remember David Cage. I could just say David Cage and you'd understand. But yeah, Detroit Become Human. I am very interested in that. Um, I know people weren't crazy about Beyond Two Souls. I've not played that. I really enjoyed Heavy Rain, though. Review on the channel. So, I don't know. Like, from what I've seen in the trailer, I think it was last year, the one with the dude on the rooftop with the girl, that actually got me, like, really interested in the game. I thought that trailer and, like, that setup was way more interesting than the, what's her name? Kara? The one they showed. And I'm sure that one actually probably goes some places, because it's David Cage. It'll get weird. But just in terms of what they've actually shown us, that stuff last year got me way more interested in the game. So I'd love to see that hit this year. Wouldn't be surprised if it's next year, though. But I really hope we get a release date on that, because I'm ready to see what they've cooked up with that. Yeah. It feels like something they probably should be talking about more than they are, but they just haven't for some reason. But, I think this year would be a good year to show that off. The other thing, Media Molecules Dreams. That's a tough one. I think, didn't they show that off the PS4 reveal? Like in early 2013 in February? Like, that thing's been gesticulating for a long time. And if you think about it, they made Tearaway on Vita, and I think there was a small team then also that did the Tearaway, whatever the PS4 one is, like Refolded or I don't know, paper pun here. Unfolded, refolded, 358 over 2. They had a little team on that, but otherwise, Suma Digital made Little Big Planet 3, and Little Big Planet 2 was 09. So you got to imagine, like, they've been working on this thing for a while, and Sony lately, this, it hasn't gotten publicized much. They got a little closure happy with their studios, and I'm not thinking Media Molecules in, like, next in line or in that much danger, but it's probably to the point where, when they're signing off these checks, Sony's like, well, what's all this going toward? Like, what are we currently getting back out of this right now, I mean, we're even at the point where, like, Little Big Planet servers are being shut down, gradually. Like, it's been that long since Media Molecule was, like, really put out, like, a big name thing. So I don't know. And then you even look at the game itself and you're like, what is the game? Right? Like, I look at that and it looks like a creative suite and it looks like an interesting thing, but it doesn't look like a thing I'm dying to play or even know how to play, because they haven't been like, here's like the campaign or the co-op, stuff like that. It's just like, oh, we can go into this room and draw an old man playing on a piano. It's like, okay, it looks really cool visually. This is all like really impressive, but it doesn't look like a video game I want to play. I'm sure there are creative people that'll flock to that thing. But when it came to Little Big Planet, I was never really great at like making the levels or stuff like that. I just liked going on and seeing what other people did. Oh man, that guy ran a red light and changed lanes during an intersection. And I doubt that sheriff behind me is going to do shit. Nope, okay. Yeah. I don't know. I want to see them get that thing out already. I want to know more about what that is. It seems like such a hard game to even convey on a conference stage, And I think they're minimizing the amount of talking, so you can't have, like, someone at Media Molecule out there showing it off and actually explaining it, apparently. And it's a shame because, like, that studio, those people are geniuses. Like, they are honestly very smart people. Getting one of them out there and finally committing and talking about the game would probably really help it out. But, who knows? And for all we know, it may not even show up. Like, was it even there last year? I don't think so. God. Oof. I don't know, man. I want to see that studio flourish because, honestly, like, obviously, they're fantastic. But it's hard. It's just hard, Dreams is just such a weird thing. Nebulous concept. Oh, man. I've got to be forgetting so much. Let's see. We talked about God of War, Activision, little bit of Square Enix. Yeah, so there's supposed to be more Japanese support. I think Sean Layden said that. I think he said he's actually only going to be talking on stage for 90 seconds throughout the whole thing, which is wild. But I'm thinking in terms of Japanese support, we mentioned Kingdom Hearts 3, and I truly do think that's like a thing that'll need to get back into this lane. I don't know why that lane ended, just to start again. That's my wild card bet. That's not even really that much of a wild card, but I feel it that there's going to be a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer. Ni no Kuni 2, they could probably stand to show that off a bit more. I think that's getting to the point where they give at least a release season and year. I haven't really kept up with that too much, but I think that feels like something people are kind of forgetting about at this point, and they might want to do something to try and grab some of that attention back, because otherwise, hardcore Ni no Kuni fans are going to stay interested, but you've got to kind of get a title like that out there a bit more I'm not going to say casual, PS4 players, but a more broad audience than they're currently speaking to with that. What else can there be in terms of Japanese support? Well, Knack 2. Knack 2 is a meme, but obviously Knack 2 is going to be there. Probably get a release year. Wouldn't be surprised if that's holiday and they bundle that in with PS4 Slims or PS4 Pros and knock down the price and try and sell that system to families more, and not exactly replicate the success Knack 1 had in being a bundle, because that, people just happened to get that game. No one was gunning to get Knack, not that many people. But they're probably at the point where we need another family game and we can just bundle this shit in. Maybe throw the first Knack in, do something with that game, because from the trailer last year, it just looks like Knack 1 again. You can look and squeeze your eyes and see that they fleshed out the combat and they've added more side gameplay styles and stuff, and we'll see how that all works out. But for the most part, the environments and everything, it just looks like Knack 1 with Sonic Knack. There's Red Knack, who's Knuckles, and there's Blue Knuckles. I'm tripping myself over this stupid joke, but anyway, I don't know. If they can demo that off and be no, this isn't some fucking aggressively mediocre thing again. We've actually crafted a fun, game that's worthy to be in the PlayStation pantheon. And if they can show that off well, awesome. But I think for the most part, they've got to play that for kids and make it a bundle and try and get families to buy in on that this Christmas if they want. And kind of use it to help sell hardware as opposed to just trying to push the software. But I don't know. Maybe they've done market data and shit that's oh no, Knack 2 would fucking sell bonkers if we push this shit out. We don't even have to worry. People want Knack. You've seen that meme on that Donkey video. People love Knack. It's I don't know what they're thinking with Knack 2, but they're doing it, by God. So there's got to be some play with that, Because of all the things you can have, Japan Studio and Mark Cerny doing, another Knack on a surface level, bad idea. But maybe they're making it work. They kind of have to, I think. Because the first Knack was kind of a joke, and you can kind of be all right, it's a launch title, whatever. But if they make another Knack 4 years into this thing, and it's also aggressively mediocre and forgettable, then you're just making yourself look bad, And I think, considering they're kind of the market leader right now, they probably want to avoid making themselves look bad at any turn they can, honestly. I just feel like most of what I've said has been Western, and they're saying there's more Japanese focus at the show this year. So I'm just trying to think, are there more Japanese exclusives, or are they just showing off a lot of Japanese third-party games on their stage, right? So I'm just trying to think of what Japanese things there are. Devil May Cry 5 has kind of been talked up a bit here and there. I can kind of see that. I'm trying to think what Platinum's doing. They launched Nier a bit ago. They've been very apt at working on a few things at once lately. Scalebound got canceled. I'm not sure that Kamiya has a game ready, because from the way he talks, he just pitched something recently, and I doubt that's anywhere near completion. But I could see them having another title in development. Maybe not a big, grand scale thing like Nier, but maybe something a bit more mid-tier, right? Not quite Transformers Devastation, but not quite Metal Gear Rising, you feel? So that may be something, a good platinum experience gets people excited. Too early for Resident Evil stuff. Kind of wonder. No, well, Metal Gear Survive would be Japanese, and we haven't seen that game in a while. But then you think, like, Sony's kind of in good with Kojima. Like, did they even give them, that stage? Or did they say, like, nah, go to Microsoft, we don't need you here. We got enough, It just seems kind of awkward if they'd be like, and here's the next game from Konami's Metal Gear Solid series. And, by the way, we're still working with Kojima. It's awkward. I don't know. I just want to see more of Metal Gear Survive, because the gameplay system of Metal Gear Solid 5, it's good. It's really good. And if you're coming at me like, here's some more, it's kind of hard for me not to at least think like, well, we'll see, I'll consider it. So I'm going to pause this real quick and look up some names and stuff just to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So I'll see you after the break. Okay, PewDiePie, I'm back from chores. Yeah, I looked it up. I couldn't really see too much I was missing out on, honestly. I think there was one game, but, yeah, I don't know. I think this year is kind of mostly a known quantity, I think, maybe they can... There was, like, Parappa Remastered and Loco Roco, and I think Patapon is, like, out very soon or something. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they'd try and tap in more to remastering some of their PSP ports of, like, classic games or something. Try and, like, tap into nostalgia a bit more. I think maybe that wouldn't be like a huge earth-shattering move by them, but I think it'd be something to kind of help keep PlayStation fans happy, or at least classic PlayStation fans, because I don't see like PS1 games coming this year or anything, especially with that fucking dumbass statement that guy made about backwards compatibility just a few days ago. I doubt they're going to turn around and be like, yeah, the PS1, PS2 Gran Turismo games, they just don't look good anymore. Like, who wants backwards compatibility? Anyway, $15 for PS1 game. We have the trophies. Fuck you. You're going to buy it. That purely seems like something they said, because, like, that's a big, good, positive, goodwill story for Xbox, So they're going to come out and be like, they're going to downplay it. They'll be like, yeah, who even uses it? Like, fucking, I don't know, dumbasses. You seen Gran Turismo 2 lately? Fuck you. It's like I don't see them doing too much crazy, anything like that. As much as I'd love that, if I don't even need trophies. If I could just pop a PS1 disc on my PS4 and play Spyro, like, game over. Fuck Xbox. But yeah, I don't see that happening. I'd like to see them double down and commit more to their PS2 backwards compatibility, because that fell off a cliff. That felt very Nintendo-like with Virtual Console, but, again, I can't expect that now. Jak and Daxter games are coming in a few months. Whoop-de-doo. What can we look forward to other than that? Third-party stuff, I bet. Natsume's probably got some more Harvest Moon they can bring out. Fuck, I don't know. I'd love to see them double down and just focus more on classic stuff, and be like, here's a new $15 downloadable Parappa the Rapper game, it's just 5 to 6 levels, we didn't go too crazy with it, what more can you do with Parappa the Rapper? So we just gave you more of what's there, we made really good songs, it's charming, the art style is there, it looks a little better, but for the most part, this is just Parappa the Rapper as you know it and want it, and just some small moves like that, the stuff I always bitch that Sega should be doing with their older IP. I'd love to see Sony hop on and be like, yeah, we got some money to throw around, fuck it. This will make people happy. And just go for that. Ooh, I'm almost on the 470. Heading toward Washington, PA. But yeah, I don't know. Just thought some wild card shit of what I always want to see at a Sony conference and never do. Or stuff that's maybe getting more likely but still won't happen. Love to see Activision mention Spyro to some capacity, like classic Spyro. Oh, I love yields. Okay, just this van. Alright, I'd love to see them say, like, Crash Bandicoot Remake is doing better than expected on pre-orders. So we're greenlighting Spyro Gem Trilogy for the PlayStation 4. That's the E3 announcer voice, by the way. They don't have annoying people like that anymore. There's definitely a point in the mid-2000s where everyone talked like this, and the gamers were the winners. Now, if you look at your Doritos pack, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah. Oh, this is a very high-grade road. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Shuhei Yoshida walk out and be like, yo, bitch, we just remade Legend of Dragoon, and it's out this year, asshole. I'd be like, fucking, okay, dude, nice. I'm in. Well, I mean, that's always my default. I want to see something with Spyro, which isn't even a PlayStation property, and I want to see something with Legend of Dragoon, which not a lot of people like. Those are always my go-tos. I'd love to see that Ratchet and Clank Future thing happen, you know. Just any way to get, like, more classic PlayStation on the PS4, I think is something that appeals to me at this point. Because, like, there's enough new PlayStation stuff coming out that I like. All these all these tractor trailers here are making this a very slow road. But, you know, just a way to get more classic stuff on PS4, you know, like, I'm happy enough with what's coming. I'm happy enough with what's out that I still need to catch up on. Like, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn, Atlas put out Persona 5. Like, there's stuff I'd love to play if I had a job and, like, an income and, like, the time, you know? Because there's plenty of stuff. But, you know, it's just, like, I can't, you know, it's, like, just a way to play those older things. Like, you know, the Parappa the Rapper remaster is a cool thing. You know, Loco Roco's out. I'd like to just see them embrace their legacy more. And make some of this stuff easier for people, you know? There's so many PS2 games they could put out that they haven't, because adding in trophies takes like a couple months of QA. They kind of shot themselves in the foot there and made it harder for them than they should have. You know, so... I don't know. That's like... I guess that's my hope. Like, really, all my hopes kind of tie into one thing. It's like, embrace the legacy more. But yeah, let me know what you all think. Let me know what you all want. Tell me how wrong I am in the comments and all that stuff. And thank you if you got through this. I have no idea how this is going to sound. I'll try and fix it up a little bit in Audacity, but who knows? So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. And let me know if you like this or not, if I should keep doing stuff like this. Thanks. This podcast video thing was generously supported by the following patrons on Patreon. Thank you.